The hour is running late, and like I like to say, there's nothing like a deadline. I'm sure a lot of you relate out there. And thank you, everybody, for all the support, and thank you for coming back and joining me once again. It was a very difficult decision what to start with. There's some work I just adore in this show. As usual, Artist Journal, October 10th, 2023. Broadcasting from deep in inner space. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. This is not a news program, bringing us back to our roots over here. Okay, so maybe a few of you saw this. Probably a lot of you saw this. For those that didn't, I mean, look at how beautiful this is. Tezos, who continues to push the innovation on the AI front with some stunning paintings, which just kind of overuse this word sometimes, obliquely reminds me weirdly of Matisse. Maybe it's this kind of, maybe it's down here, but it's not exactly, there's something, maybe it's the fauves, right? I think, which means, and we can look this up in a second, the fauves, which I think meant like the wild ones. I don't know that word in French. I do know French, but I don't know fauves. But anyways, I think it means the wild ones, or is translated. There's something kind of fauvish because of all the wild colors that they would use, especially for way back in the early 20th century. And so there's something there's that. So again, kind of has this weird Matisse feeling, but this is, Matisse would have never have painted this work in a million years. And yeah, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. We can zoom in a little bit, not a ton, but look at this great painterly texture and everything. It's kind of like a work that you feel like should be in a museum, that you maybe should have seen. Again, it kind of looks like weirdly, somewhat, a little bit early 20th century, but then if you look up close, then you go, well, clearly this is not. And sometimes you don't have words for what's going on here. I mean, I would be interested to hear what you have to say. Look at this beautiful pink sky with these, blue brush strokes and multiple suns. There is a plate in the middle of this sea here, this beautifully painted sea, I might add. I mean, again, I'm kind of back to this, was this painted with AI? Because it probably was. I mean, this is probably raw AI. Now, Tezos, again, bringing me back at least 6 months ago, I think. I should try and dig up this message. Tezos, and things may have changed since then, but Tezos actually wrote me when I first had Tezos kind of on the program. I should actually see if Tezos wants to do a space. And I believe, if memory serves, it is almost all AI, and sometimes Tezos will use even ChatGPT to create the prompt, and so oftentimes the title. It's very AI, but there was one element where Tezos was saying, if I remember correctly, that different layers, that different versions maybe are layered on top of each other, and there's kind of like selectioning, let's say, of certain areas of some paintings over top of others, let's say. So there is an editing that goes on, but it's basically masking. In other words, choosing this, selecting this, and selecting that, not really necessarily doing a lot of shifting around. There is some editing, from my understanding, but I mean, it's quite, again, another, summit here as we just, look at it's incredible. And again, wait till you see, and I had a preview yesterday of kind of what was coming today. Maybe some of you will already guess what I'm going to be discussing, but it's just incredible that it's not like the challenge isn't to find something that I can start with that I think will be interesting to a lot of people. The challenge is which one, so first of all, there was this work by Tezos, again, and the color. And let's actually look, before I forget, no empty promises here, meaning of fauvism. If I Can just meaning of fauvism in English. Let's see. Here's a definition. A style of painting with vivid, expressionistic, and non-naturalistic use of color that flourished in Paris from 1905, although short-lived, had an important influence on subsequent artists, especially the German Expressionists. Matisse was regarded as the leading figure. So now I don't see. Let's see. Should I ask ChatGPT? Let's do a little experiment very quickly here. All our time is precious, but I mean, it's happening more and more, this very process that let's just see if meaning of fauvism in English. Let's just put the exact same prompt and let's see what happens. Maybe it'll be exactly the same thing. No, it's giving me exactly what I want. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I was talking about yesterday, fauvism. The word itself comes from the French word fauves, which means wild beasts. This name was given to the artists associated with this movement because of their use of bold, raw, and vibrant colors that seemed wild and untamed to traditional art viewers and critics, particularly in 1905, where they were still kind of, shaking off the shackles of academic art, with its sepia underpainting. So strong colors. Yes, so we don't need to go too deep into that. Movement began in the early 1900s and was particularly influential between 1905 and 1910. It seems to have not had a long shelf life, though. It's maybe that wasn't enough just to do kind of wild colors. It's considered one of the first major avant-garde movements in European art of the 20th century. Interesting. And so, just so we have an understanding, and here, and perhaps, as I was discussing earlier, perhaps this is, as I was saying, and I follow Tukes, again, that is a Twitter bug. I feel the need, an X bug, I feel the need to say that every time because I really don't want people to think that I am not following Tukes and all of these great artists that I happily, graciously, humbly follow. Memories of a Timeless Room. This was probably made, I bet, with AI. A very poetic title, isn't it? Memories of a Timeless Room. So it kind of brings a whole other feel to it, too, especially when you see it a bit smaller here. Because all of a sudden this looks like a painting on the wall with these other paintings. And then these colors, you almost wonder, like, is this a painter's, shelves where a painter is, is this almost kind of like a semi-impressionistic kind of painting where almost like semi-cubist almost in the sense that we'll kind of look at different angles of things because these almost look like paint buckets or little paint palettes of a certain kind, even gouache pucks that you might use, but then mixed with all of this kind of food and stuff. Confusing work, but I would say in a good way. Very, very, very interesting work. I mean, so that is Tukes here, and here's another stunner from Tukes. Let's just look at the title, Flowers in a Colorful Tile Countertop. So another beautiful title and another beautiful work, and 60,000, 59,000 views there on X. So that is impressive. And interestingly, it's almost like the outline, the structure of the flowers in the vase, the bouquet, I guess you'd call it, or the gathering of flowers in the vase here. It's funny how those kind of outlines almost keep going into the background here. And then over here, it's almost like there's a window where you see far off into this kind of beach setting, could be Greece. And here you see, I think Tukes is out of Turkey, actually, so maybe Turkey, which is, of course, right beside Greece. And here, this beautiful wooden countertop here. And, just a final thing, wood. This wood was a big theme in early 20th century art. You see it in Picasso a lot. I think you see it in Max Ernst in the woodcuts, or is that the flottage? Let me just show you very quickly here. Max Ernst, I mean, that's something worth asking ChatGPT sometime soon. Sorry, just like Max Ernst wood flottage drawings. Sorry, words aren't as easy for me today. I didn't sleep great, but I'm feeling way better. And I'm getting ready to go. Quick show note. There's actually not going to be a show on Thursday and Friday, as previously mentioned. Monday's an open question. Because I fly that day, and I'm not sure if the hotel room has a table. It's not a very big hotel room. Okay, we're all over the place here. Now, so a lot of these... So here's flottage. I don't see... Like, here he would use the floor, or different objects to get... here we go. This is basically what I was looking for. Here. It's kind of a theme you see, and I'm sure a lot of you will know this. It's a theme you see over and over from 1900, let's say, to 1920 or 30 in a lot of modernist kind of artworks, particularly I'd say in Picasso and Ernst. And what Ernst would say about these kind of, wood paneling, I guess we could call it, or chopped wood that you're looking at, like the intersection of. He would treat this as, I think it was in Beyond Painting, where he quoted Leonardo, who, and this is kind of hearkening back to an earlier show, where Leonardo said in the notebooks and basically to his students, if you want to train your imagination, see how many things you can see in the clouds. And how many images do you start to see in the clouds? And I believe, if memory serves, it's been a while since I've read Beyond Painting, but I highly recommend it, that Ernst was basically saying the same thing about these, the hallucinatory properties, you might say, of this kind of wood paneling, so to speak, and how you can look at this and all of a sudden you can start to imagine figures. And so it was kind of a popular way of seeing, I guess, of creating ambiguity among many, many other things in these works. So all to say, when I see wood like this in a little countertop here, that's what it makes me think of. And maybe that's a bridge too far. Flowers in a colorful tile countertop. So beautiful work from Tukes, stunning innovation. On the AI front. Just a big shout out and thank you. Look at the welcome that Zora has given me. I have minted videos here on Zora, and they have given me the headline here on Zora.co. So big shout out and thank you. That is very nice, and already 95 minted. That is fabulous. So, we have revenue. Interestingly, like, we have revenue here. So big shout out and thank you to everybody who has minted here. And shout out to Zora. Thank you for putting me. Thank you for the beautiful welcome. And with that, I'm going to have Zach from Zora on the NFT. I was already planning on having him on. I think it works out really nicely, though. Zach from Zora, who is a curator there and also helps with just overall, I think, business development. Looking forward to welcoming Zach Crevitt to this week's Spaces for the soft launch of Artist Journal on our Zora. The reason I say soft launch is because I'm not making this like a massive deal or anything. Just, it's happening. We might as well celebrate it. But also to discuss NFT marketplaces, free mints, and future plans at Zora's. So let's see what they're up to. Talk about the free mint model, what they're up to just at Zora in general. So it should be fun, and that is happening tomorrow. I'll be in London. I land like about an hour and 10, maybe an hour before. So I may be in a taxi or who knows what while I'm doing this. So just be warned there. Runetoon, I may need to lean on a little bit as far as hosting if things get weird. But should be all good, and it should be an awesome episode and a chance to learn about Zora. And just wanted to, pretty pleased here. All the little kind of, it's like a baby, fledgling baby that's, you're feeding and it's just coming together. Ed has put another work here, another post on Pixel Network, how and why I use AI art. And it just links to the video here and puts his work, and here it takes you to the Twitter broadcasts and also slideshow with the artworks and links. So very cool here. Another post from Ed Marola on pixelnetwork.substack.com. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's keep going to the comments. For yesterday's show, great Scamra, great show. Art and war is a complex topic. I appreciate you addressing it with the time you had available. That's actually, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking afterwards, like, there's all sorts of things I could have mentioned, and but really I'm doing this I'm not taking 2 days to prepare this. Like, it's sort of like the morning of is the preparation that really comes into these, which I actually quite like. Otherwise, if it was too much preparation, it would be too much. But I appreciate you understanding it's with the time I had available. There's a quote by Brecht that I also think about in these contexts. Quote, "In the dark times, will there also be singing? Yes, there will also be singing about the dark times." Yeah, poetic. And let me just reload this so we get the rest of the comment here. There are a couple of ways to read it, but I think it speaks to the fact that people can't stop themselves from creating. Yeah, back to this idea that it's kind of like a elemental, almost instinctual aspect. You could argue, I mean, it kind of brings up the, Freud's civilization and its discontents. I mean, where he argues, I mean, I was mentioning the biological aspect of war, and that's kind of thinking about Freud's civilization and its discontents, where he basically says there's two forces, what he's positing, there's two forces basically in the human psyche. One is the desire to create eros and come together, that almost on a cellular level, there's a kind of love, eros, or the bringing together of. And there's also thanatos, to destroy, the instinct for destruction, which was very controversial. I'd argue still is. So to your point, it's like I agree. Like, I mean, so it's almost on a cellular level, like things are necessarily, it's almost cosmic, breaking apart and coming back together. So just all theory and speculation here. But interesting, I kind of echo, I agree. People can't stop creating. My good friend Alistair Crystal, great show as always. Wonderful to hear from Alistair, who lives about 15-minute bike ride away. Great to have friends that watch here. Dragic, another wonderful show, Poco. Loved it. I'm going to send you some artists on Twitter and write a small review on them. I'm really inspired with what you do. I totally appreciate that, and I appreciate the comments, Dragic, with the shows here. Cableen, I note that you may do an Object One curation, so just another awesome news note for this show. So thank you, Cableen, or Ombeline. Whose real name is Ombeline, by the way. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sort of like New Year's-ish, maybe, let's talk, and maybe in the new year, when things are going to be chiller. That sounds fun. I'm sure, let's see, but I put it this way. Thank you for the invite, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for this show. It is great to look at art, especially in these dark times. It's true that war is a part of human nature, unfortunately. Yes, and it's kind of back to exactly what we were just saying about it almost being instinctual, and it may have been even it probably an aspect of survival. Like, I mean, what do they say? Nature is not neutral, although that's what it means. The word is escaping me today. Nature is... But ultimately nature isn't moral. It's kind of morally neutral. And so it's not crazy to think that war is a part of human nature. It sure seems that way, doesn't it? Will disposed, on the contrary, we could use much more art to happen during the times of war to remind us and give us enlightenment to the source of and reasons for the conflict. Right, using war as a kind of light, as well as a purpose to go on with life in the face of seemingly imminent killing. Right, in the face of, I mean, another way of putting this is in the face of senselessness, of a meaninglessness, right? Because in a sense, like, there's a lot of just, what was this for? What, like, a kind of, when you see this kind of, wherever you are in the world and you see senseless, killing, there's a sense of meaninglessness. So all the more reason for Will to add significance, add meaning to the world. I mean, kind of like the existentialist view on the world, which actually Ballard and the surrealists quite, I think, shared, is in a meaningless world, in a kind of atheistic world of meaninglessness. Your role is to infuse the world with meaning through your own imagination. In a sense, kind of reimagine the world in a way that makes sense to you. Like, in a sense, it's a co-creation of sorts, your reality. And it's really a task for the imagination to kind of give meaning to the world. And so thanks to all the artists of all mediums that spend their lives attempting to bring meaning, context, and feeling to life while the war machines churn on. And exactly. Mortis Spiral, love you, Poco, amazing, thank you, Mort, and I totally appreciate that. Human Boy, thank you for the comments, glad you enjoyed it. This was actually very important here as well. Phoebe Hees Fashion. Krieg und Ferien, War and Holidays, is a play on words on Tolstoy's Krieg und Frieden, War and Peace. So I didn't know that. Yeah, so interesting. Tolstoy I thought was Russian, but maybe this is a play on the German title of Tolstoy's War and Peace, of course, which is Frieden is peace, Krieg is war in German. So Krieg und Ferien, a play on War and Peace, War and Holidays. Interesting. Santiago Isacodal. This was also fascinating. I also used to play Goa Sai in 1999 to 2005. Might have to have at the Tezos party that we've long talked about here, we might have to have a couple of Goa sets. I also know people who were at that rave in Israel. It was an edition of Universo Paralelo. So Santiago actually knew people that were at that party. Wow. And yeah, so I'll be in touch, Santiago, about doing a Twitter space, by the way. A couple of people were, yeah, here it is, Santiago Marquez. Yes, please have Santiago Isacodal as a guest. So I'll make the request. So I'm going to do that. And someone also mentioned that on Twitter. So thank you for all the comments here. And a correction here from Evelyn O. Another wonderful episode, Pocobelli. Thank you for the kindness of featuring my work. It's mostly digital painting in this using Photoshop, so the textures you loved are not made by AI, unfortunately. Basically, like Yuri J, though they is more maxi with patterns and is a master at it. So, quite beautiful. Like, in a sense, as I wrote in the comment, in the response, it's like, it's almost kind of even more impressive if that's not AI. Like, that's pretty nice painting, all of it. So, like, in a sense, it's not like getting lucky with a really nice prompt from AI. Like, this is actually just a beautiful painting, which arguably is harder to do. Awesome. And there's Lily Illo, another wonderful thank you. And of course, you're totally welcome. So anyways, thank you for the correction, Evelyn, and thank you for the comment, Lily. Pamela Cerrone. Today I've made over 25 animations, and Julian Pupo has been coding like crazy. Soon, amazing interactive artworks on our Zora. So let me stop. So, and here we see, look at all the coding, actually. So that's pretty wild. So they're making interactive artworks here with Pamelo Cerrone. And look at that. You can see little elements of Pamelo's work going across the screen. I have to say, Pamelo seems to be constantly working. I mean, the output is frankly off the charts. Meanwhile, doing an exhibition, putting out interactive art, putting out what seems to be like 10 works a day, it's pretty cool. So big shout out to Pamelo Cerrone. So, as I was saying at the start of this episode, it was a very difficult decision on what to start with. This is awesome. This is, of course, mech.txt. And as we were saying, I was showing last episode these works. I guess they're MS-DOS. I don't want to see MS-DOS tile until next week. I'm done. Thank you for bearing my ASCII's tirade, my friends. Sorry for the spam. So put out a ton of tweets. Let me just show this to you. And I think these are just gorgeous and so reminiscent of Ultima 4, and I'm going to show you in a second here, but just gorgeous. Like, big shout out and props to mech.txt for cracking the code here. Because, once it's done, all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I could do that, but kind of making it look easy, frankly. I'm going to show you a screenshot of Michael Micasso working in Aseprite, but I just want to show, look at this. I mean, it's just beautiful. These works here, and you see almost like there's a very Greek sort of feel, impenetrable Rado-Romans, so going very classical on this, which I think fits really nicely. Here it is in Aseprite, and you see here, it's like, this is quite brilliant. Because it's not like Michael Micasso is relying on ASCII, using a text editor and putting this in like, what is it, text.art or whatever the text thing on Tezos is, but actually puts in a lot of these. I don't know where they're from. Again, they're very reminiscent of Ultima 4. I'm going to show you in a second here. So I'm not exactly sure where these came from, if they're default or what they are. I mean, again, this snake here you see in Ultima 4, but slightly different. And even like everything is very reminiscent of Ultima 4, but different. And look at how beautifully done this is. It almost reminds me of Böcklin's Island of the Dead. Look at this beautiful sea here. And the way that this is kind of blocked out here, the black at the bottom, first of all, it totally echoes games like Ultima 4, where it only shows you when you're navigating things you can see. So if you're in a deep forest, it'll only show you what's around you, and then it'll just have black around, darkness, where you can't see. This is just, to me, incredibly exciting and gorgeous. Let's just look up Böcklin's Island of the Dead, because it's a very important work. The Surrealists loved it, and, I'm sure a lot of you know it, but if you don't, see, it's kind of reminiscent here. Google Arts and Culture, kind of reminiscent in its own way of the Island of the Dead here. And there's even, you could almost do the MS-DOS ASCII version of this work, couldn't you? So very, very, very cool work by Michael Micasso. So this is Ultima 4. And just for illustration, this is I don't know if you call it the image map, with basically the entire game is created, I think, from this, astonishingly. And let me just show you here some screenshots. So let me just open image. So here you see it, and you see actually the similarity here. So here's one, more. You just see these sort of screenshots, so you see what I'm talking about. I just wanted to kind of illustrate that. Here's other works. I've actually made works literally based on these screenshots you see here. You see that with the different, types of water. This is deep water. This is shallow water over here, and this is regular water. And then you have all these, I can't remember what they're called. And then here you see the darkness. I'm gonna. You see the darkness because the forest you can't see, kind of reminiscent of what we were seeing in Michael Picasso. So also an interesting kind of video game sort of thing going on there, potential accidental or not. So all to say, just incredibly cool work here by Michael Picasso, and we have a few more examples. And look at this. So incorporating this into his style too. I mean, look at how much work he put out. He must have been incredibly excited while he was working on all this. Look at how beautiful this margin kind of area is. This kind of wilderness here, and even the water, and it almost looks like the poison or the grass. And then you get this beautiful, like classical setting on the sea, a little quiet town in the coast of the Aegean Sea. And here you have this kind of classical town here, and then some trees, and then the sea, and even almost like shallow, regular, and deep water. So incredibly cool. And here, just, I mean, it's stunning. Those kind of dark areas really add a nice contrast, by the way. Province of Illyricum. And you see the snake there? Yeah, so, I mean, brilliant work. Aegean coast. Look at how many works are being made here, too. So, I mean, I just find this incredibly exciting. Here's some more. I mean, and they probably don't take too long to put together, and nice torches here. And so, I mean, a huge amount of output here. It's crazy. Aqueduct, so maybe trying like a Roman aqueduct here. So props to mech.txt for like just some incredibly inspiring and beautiful work. Nicholas Sassoon, speaking of which, incoming release this Friday, October 13th. So this looks like maybe a crop of sorts of a new kind of pixel artwork from Nicholas Sassoon. So that sounds cool. And just a really interesting artist. I don't see a ton of mints, at least on my radar, from Nicholas Sassoon. So it's always kind of interesting to see what he'll put out. I think he's out of Montreal, but I could be wrong about that. Continuing on, Gogolitis. Another series. The genesis of the Chromatic Voltage collection has been minted on object.com. The collection consists of 6 square pieces and 1 special piece, which will be dropped to collectors who hold all pieces. So here it is, and it's been minted on Object, Chromatic Voltage number 1. So this should be interesting, and you see this kind of lightning bolt kind of shimmering there, almost in a Kappan sort of way, and you see these great circuits here. It's alive, and kind of even, I feel, like a slight development on the color here. A little bit more control on the color here, and kind of zeroing in on a kind of aesthetic here. A palette of sorts. So 64 frames, pixel art by Gogolitis. So more excitement from Gogolitis. That'll be fun to watch. Popple looks like this is a new one. I don't remember seeing this one. The path you seek is cursed and bleak, where mournful winds forever speak. And so, interesting piece here. Looks like from the Sanitarium series, if I remember right. On Object, I assume that will be minted. I don't think it's minted yet. Cuda. My first foundation piece has been listed. Forging an Ethereal Ally. Link in comments. So here it is. You know what's interesting about this? It seems like Cuda is using a little bit more negative space here. Almost like we were commenting in how effective it was in mech.txt. You see here, a little bit more negative space, and it's quite beautiful here how this kind of is just kind of still here. And then again, you have these moving pixels over here. I mean, it's beautiful, actually. And then here you almost have like a 3D figure, but this person is static. Interesting. And so this is on Foundation. Shall we very quickly check if there is a bid yet? Reserve set at 0.2, minted 23 hours ago on Foundation. So that is CUDA. Continuing on, Haiti Rocket with some more computers, buffer overflow, and it is a series of variations. I thought this was awesome. Again, you could have started the show with this cool kind of retro computer kind of on fire, seemingly. with almost all these wires being crossed and dripping this kind of info on all sides out of the screen. Beautiful work. Edition of 1. And I don't think sold to anyone. I think first it was listed for 44 and canceled after 7 minutes, then listed at 88, then listed at 444, and then, so yeah, all the wild machinations of Haiti Rockette's burning and listing mechanics. So now it's a 1 of 1. Super cool. This is an edition of 69 for 44 Tezos on secondary. And we'll see if these get burnt. And a couple have been sold. 3 have been sold. So this is without the green kind of info spilling out. And then here you have one with all sorts of stuff going on. This is also still available, version 1.1. So again, we're kind of back to this idea of variations on the tension of the digital copy and just doing variations on it. It's interesting, and I'm kind of back to why not? Why not? Buffer overflow, version 1.3, and again, so again, these are different works, you know, and I kind of think it's great, and it makes me want to do that. So very cool work from Haiti Rockette. Muji, Obelisk number 4. I thought this was gorgeous. Let me zoom in a bit. Just beautiful, more beautiful kind of like, Muji's really good at these kind of animations in Deluxe Paint. I assume it's all Deluxe Paint. I mean, it looks almost like it's using more than Deluxe Paint. But if this is all Deluxe Paint, I mean, just gorgeous, these animations here. And super colors here too, just beautiful. Let's see what happened here. Edition of 10, now 77 Tezos on secondary. So market loved it. Let's see how long it took to sell out. 10 Tezos each. And there's Xerox, Dina Chang, Magician, Strano, Somfei, Uxine, NFT Spritz. So sold out. It still took, you know, a good 2 hours to sell out. So you had your opportunity there, and now you won't get it as cheap. Slava 3 with a open edition, 6 have been minted, GM system. I don't think we've looked at this one. And special digital drink to cheer you up in the morning. So there it is, interesting piece, and colors from Slava 3. And Dither, who does the retro TVs, is collaborating with Pixology, who did some very cool pixel art works. Instant Flux, Dither times Pixology art in a neon realm of crackling energy. Vibrant rays play with charged atoms. Electric currents weave a dance. Okay, so here is the work, and I assume this will be minted on Object with the others. So cool piece here. So this is Stip and Pixel, and this is on mint.fun on the Zora blockchain. So we're back to mint.fun, and it makes you wonder if they are multi-chain here or if they're just Zora, but it's interesting how they put Zora here, almost where they have the intention of going multi-chain. So mint.fun is doing things, and let me just show you. So just a cool, another cool kind of pixel artwork with some nice patterning of what look like, I don't know if those are geese or ducks or what they are. Quack Thermorag is the title. So Mint 1 for almost nothing. So similar almost model here. Mint 2 for 0.14. So interesting. Maybe if you mint 3 at a time, you only get 1 gas fee is the idea. Interesting. Kind of looks like a similar model to Zora, doesn't it? So interesting. Ugo with a super cool work. Rubik's Cube on Object. And let's just quickly look. Sold out at only 4 Tezos. It took surprisingly long time, actually. A couple hours there. And here it is. Great subject. And really nice way of portraying a Rubik's Cube. I think this is quite brilliant because kind of makes it look easy with these huge chunky pixels here, even diagonally done, really nicely done, and then just patterning in each one, which I also think is pretty interesting. And getting like a lot of those Rubik's Cube colors, but interesting transitions in colors, interesting decisions, just filling it with kind of texture, you might say, each of these colors. Nice work. This kind of original texture that Ugo seems to have figured out. Gozo, Gozo is back. An eye for an eye with another awesome, look at this, another awesome, I guess we'd call this AI-based collage. Maybe something like that. Has this beautiful texture here and continues with another just kind of stunningly beautiful original work of art with its kind of really own kind of, again, digital textures, kind of, which again have a slightly AI feel, kind of reminiscent of what we're seeing with Scamra as well. And look at these, beautiful candles here, even like the kind of JPEG artifactness that you see in a little bit of this. Just beautiful. Edition of 20 offers are coming in. And so 10 to 20 Tezos so far, Yuri J at the top. The myth. Butterbean tries to destroy the myth. So I don't know if Butterbean is a famous boxer or not, but another cool myth work here. And here the myth is getting ready for a boxing match. And there is the pink, and if you go back to the myth's like first works, they're of like boxing matches. So bringing myth back to his roots here, and interestingly, on a golf course here in the background, kind of surreal. And trademark myth clouds in the background. You can tell by how it's painted. It looks like it was made in Procreate rather than Microsoft Paint. So very cool, donning the lemon head there, and some Air Jordans. Continuing on, Bazaya. I feel like maybe we've seen this before, but maybe we haven't. Let's see what it says. Pink Psycho is now listed for direct sale on Super Rare for 0.3 ETH. So this, maybe it's just been listed for the first time. So cool work here by Bazaya. Although I think this is new. I feel like I've seen something kind of reminiscent, but I don't remember this exact work. With all these kind of monsters in the background here. Nice kind of yellow floor for contrast and everything. So new work on Super Rare. Look at that pink suit. That almost violet pink suit and shirt here from Bazaya. Wonder if that's a famous character. Pink Psycho. Probably. Butterfly Wish by Rinnyfish. Putting out a lot of work here, and this one's pretty nice. Let's see if there's volume. Cool music. Another poetic work from Rinnyfish. Love the color too, by the way. In the ancient bug myth, when you dream of this butterfly in your sleep, dreams are about to come true. Editions of 15 and not listed yet. Very nice color here. And again, kind of these pastels. These kind of almost, I'd call psychedelic pastels here. With beautiful gradients and these almost like monster figures, kind of like the bugs over here. And everything. Yeah, just really cool original work. Score, Pink Dahlias, and they just collaborated recently. Pink Dahlias at a botanical park in Tokyo. So Score has been using 3D scanning recently, as we heard on the Space, I think that was last week. So here are some of the results, and this was just minted, I believe, on Object, if I'm not mistaken. So, using probably Touch Designer and 3D scanning here. Yeah, made with Touch Designer, Adobe 3D Scan. Scaniverse. I didn't know there was Adobe 3D Scan. Or no, Touch Designer maybe, and 3D Scan is by Scaniverse maybe. So this is an edition of 8. Offers are coming in, and none listed yet. Sean Luke, Last Slice, Waiting Just for You. So cool work here. Kind of animated abstract, although they kind of look like swords a little bit here coming through, and maybe a skull here. So maybe a little bit of representational work here. Last Slice, Just Waiting for You. Again, maybe referencing the swords. Edition of 7. Now 888 Tezos. And let's just see what they sold for. 150 Tezos each. Impressive. On primary. Very impressive. Sunset Picnic by Ed Marola. So that was in, you can find the making of this if you go to Ed's feed or to the Pixel Network, pixelnetwork.substack. And Sunset Picnic. So this is on Magic Eden, which is on Solana. A couple of people have been minting here on Solana recently. Let me just show you. Solana Genesis Alert, where Magic Eden. Cool work here. I mean, pretty edgy. actually, isn't it? Too bad this isn't bigger. Gotta love this kind of negative space in here. Maybe the other one's bigger. It is. You gotta love that, and even just all this fuzziness here. So you can see how this was made in this great frame here, and of course trademark kind of moving the canvas in certain areas, keeping other parts of the canvas still. These skeletons kind of having a picnic with maybe the Grim Reaper approaching, and the hand kind of lit up a little bit. And there almost seems to be like a spotlight moving around a little bit here. I think I saw it. Yeah, just very lightly. You can see kind of like a white spotlight moving through this. Interesting. 51 NFTs minted at a price of point. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's like 5 Sol already. Pretty good. So you wonder if this is like the Zora free mint thing. So again, I'm going to talk to Zach about free minting this Wednesday on tomorrow's Spaces from London. Santiago, laser question about squirrel lizards come to mind of the guards, and they just looked into the void forever. So just another beautiful work here. Another original work by Santiago. Another original abstract artwork by Santiago. Looks great. That's all I have to say on that one. It just looks great. Edition of 20 for 7 Tezos, 17 left. Nice addition to the oeuvre. And here is rustic digital art. A Child is the Father of the Man, poetic title on Foundation. So how cool is that? I think it might be Rustic's first work on Foundation, which is on Ethereum. And here you see a couple of the cropped Mario. I don't know if I've ever seen the Zelda guy before. And here maybe Argentinian player and a Toy Story guy and a kid playing. It's almost like the imagination, the contents of the imagination are kind of spilling out into the room here, and just interesting work here. Outrageous mark making here in a good way. And maybe some markers here on the ground. Kind of all the beauty, messy, number 10, kind of the innocence of youth a little bit here. Beautiful work. Child is the Father of the Man. Great title. Reserve of 0.13 on Foundation. Not a bad price. Ethereum is coming down. Dylan with another work here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's collage or when she was a little girl, she would write poetry about everything. Dylan. So this is a 1 of 1. This sold, I think, for 13 Tezos. Nice piece. Let's just look quickly. Yeah, 12 Tezos to an anonymous wallet. The Isolationist, and I'm going to speed up a bit here. No words. So interesting piece here. Again, often using a profile. And you can see lightly kind of sad eyes here, beautiful texture, and then some kind of texture writing layer over top here. Some interesting mark making over here, nice textured background, and here you see 3-dimensional space. Something you often see in Francis Bacon. Often Uxine plays with this, and other artists too. Nice work from Isolationist. Let's just see, now available for 38 Tezos on secondary or on primary. 1 left at 38 Tezos. Nice selling 20, so bringing in like almost 720 Tezos, 760 Tezos, not bad at all. M. Suksu. So this great artist here, La Luvia, digital illustration. I think someone was mentioning the joy that this artist brings, and they have released a new work, interestingly, with some Spanish text here that I don't know. Just a really interesting and fun artist, M. Suksu. Edition of only 14 for 245. Still 9 left on primary. And Nov 1914, Baile Cruzado. This is for 1 of 1. A few 1 of 1s released by Nov 1914. So pretty cool. I love 1 of 1s, and it'd be awesome to get a Nov 1914. They probably didn't sell, accepting offers 17 Tezos, 1 of 1, who interviewed Nov 1914. Nice. And here is an edition of 3, Encuentro con Flor. So looking, maybe encountering a flower, perhaps. These gradient figures, large gradient frame, awesome kind of sun there. And these sold out at 8 Tezos each. And cool, actually, multicolor frame here. Kind of pale blue and green here. Interesting. And not sure what this one means. And this is for 1 of 1, so maybe this was just sent over to 1 of 1. Yes, there's 1 of 1. So maybe 1 of 1 asks for some 1 of 1. So look at how beautiful this is. So more beauty from Nov 1914. Interesting experiment here too. No margin frame, but a little bit of gradient coming in on the sides here. And then a gradient kind of diagonal, and then the figure. So again, I guess just on the bottom, kind of keeping that frame interesting. Edition of 10 for 5 Tezos, and 10 left. Don't buy. So don't buy with another one, playing again with what I call the BSOD, or the blue screen of death, in kind of masked into an image here, and here it's of a cow. I wonder if that's AI. It probably is AI with some windows over top and some masking. So don't buy. Edition of 7. 1 is available on secondary, selling out at 5 Tezos on primary. Daniel W. GM, The Great Machine. So I haven't seen much from Daniel W. So here, this kind of looked interesting. Just wanted to catch up. An interesting kind of new piece I hadn't seen, with a kind of a shadow spilling out a little bit into the crowd here, and kind of using classic, I guess, magenta and cyan. Often using CMYK here, just using, I guess K is also being used, black. So magenta, cyan, and black. The Great Machine, cool title. Dolby Biba, New Age, 13 editions on object.com. Just a cool illustration here. Nice contrast. Here you see illustration, kind of gift out. Here with more gradients, here pixelation. Just kind of a bold work here. Kind of one of those fun, I almost want to call them like chaos works, and digital chaos works. And here, up, thumbs down, just cool work. Dolby Biba. I think I follow them, but just making sure. 2 Nana, Pepe's Love Spreader. And so just a cool illustration. I can't remember. I saw this in someone's collection, September 24th. This came out a couple of weeks ago, and I missed it. I thought it was just a cool work here. Of course, the Pepe figure and a cool border here. Just a cool illustration. Only a Tezos 50 and 20 left on primary. And here is Zora with Explainer Gallery. Nice kind of piece here, kind of ancient feeling. Very nice textured green here. Kind of makes all the difference. Also in the black. Multicolored leopard. Edition of 15 for 5 Tezos. And there are 14 left, just listed. And Igor Kapustin, Elkland. So not sure what to make of this one. This almost looks like a mushroom cloud, doesn't it? But not positive on that. And maybe it's a tree or like architectural structure too. Looks like fall with someone walking through this kind of semi, apocalyptic kind of landscape sort of style. Elkland, interesting. And that is 23 Tezos, edition of 5. Let's speed up here. Jake Studios, Daily Routine. So another cool, what I'd say just kind of surrealist illustration here from Jake Studios. This kind of alien figure turning into human, and then watering this kind of digital plant here with these kind of like reality panels, or structures underneath, or checkered panels. And is that the Earth in red? Daily Routine. Really interesting. Green Ginger. And there's some music here, kind of a Batman and Robin, Bad Bat and Bobbin, Loop Leap. So just kind of a fun work here. 10 Tezos, that's probably on secondary, edition of 15. Zoxo slot. And so here we are, more kind of playing with what seems to be like at least a Super Mario star, and kind of game, iconography here, but in the form of a slot machine. So interesting piece, edition of 14, open edition, minting for 3 Tezos, $2 each. And Dr. Version with a teaser of a new work and some really nice music. Great music and great, just kind of love where this is going. Just kind of get absorbed by this whole thing. Very nice. And there was a piece, So that's going to be on objects. And I think we missed this piece from Dr. Version from September 26th. Let me see if it plays. It's going somewhere. Like, pretty cool, and the audio is awesome, and the video is great. It's interesting. It's interesting to see this concept continue to evolve here. Edition of 3, Velour Combustion. A very nice piece here. Created auction at 20, so no sales. Maybe you can put an offer in. Excuse me. Ex-Mortal, with a pretty cool, kind of unusual glitch here on this flower here, which I thought was pretty fancy. A fancy glitch here. So, just a flower opening, Delirium, Ex-Mortal, edition of 15, 1250 on secondary. Somfei, Hide and Seek, and this almost just looked like a mysterious cipher given the analog video glitch treatment. Interesting piece here. Just looks like an abstract, Hide and Seek. So interesting piece here. Sky Goodman, as we start to enter AI, with another one of these kind of pixelated landscapes here that we're seeing, which Sky has been doing landscape painting by a landscape painter. This is edition of 9 and available for 9 Tezos, 1 left on primary. And Skamra with another beautiful work here. Look at the great textures in this, probably stable diffusion, text analysis, or whatever that was. You know, using AI to get these beautiful tree paintings. I thought this one was quite nice, great texture. And Lily Illo, I think is from, I'm not sure if this is a new one or if this is from the M-Props work, but I hadn't seen it before, and I thought it looked great. So beautiful work here from Lily Illo. AI artwork, of course. And Onism by Emile Corsillo. So this is also a series on using M-Props, and it's pretty impressive. Let me just show you a few. So here's one work. I mean, the painterliness. It's like a cool abstract painting series. And as you'll see here, I mean, it's pretty impressively... You gotta love the underpainting, right? Like, that's pretty well done, how it shows the underpainting like this. I don't know if... Yeah, look at how great... I mean, it looks like a real painting. Again, if you give this to Art Matter, then what? Like, you probably get some pretty darn nice paintings. I wonder if Art Matter, you probably would be able to program it where it would create the underpainting first of the yellow and then put the gray on top and, you know, in the right quantity. Here's another one. So very cool series here from 3 Emile M-Props, 3mil_C. And let's continue here. Zoom Symphony. And so very interesting, colorful AI artwork of a symphony. It's almost like the music and the color. It's almost got that fauve color, doesn't it? So cool perspective here too. It's almost cinematic, the composition here. Nice subject matter here too. Edition of 10 for 4 Tezos. And Venta with another work, Lost in the Sauce. And kind of maybe a reference to drinking, perhaps, and kind of, again, these plasticine figures here. AI artwork, but I think with a lot of editing, just super interesting and original. AI art, Venta times AI, available for 5 Tezos, 16 left on primary. And then a few from Sabato of this Autotopia series, I thought were pretty impressive. If these are just, you know, AI-generated mints, generative AI, you know, it's pretty impressive if you can just put in, and actually someone mentioned a message to me. They said, by the way, you have to subscribe to M-Props Open Studio. It's not free if you want to do this. So just a heads up there. So a few more from Sabato here as we wrap up here. Night of the Lowriders, number 36. I thought pretty amazing. And just pretty amazing works here from Sabato. And this, of course, is Strange Thing, made in AI, Rod of Asclepius inspired jewelry collection. And here you have what looks like a golden hand. The Asclepius glove with solid gold tips. Maybe just the tips are solid gold. So pretty cool there as usual from Strange Thing. Go check out the feed for just more, I mean, constantly putting out really interesting pieces here. AI. And that is your show, my friends. So I'll see you on Twitter Spaces, hopefully tomorrow. Thank you for joining me again. And we'll have another show maybe next Monday. It might be a week. I'm going to figure it out. Depends on planes and just situation. Do I have a table, etc. So all to say, thank you for once again joining me. And until next time, take care.